very upset about people consenting to do things that he wouldn't do.
Lily Phillips is a woman who recently went viral for the wrong reason, for one of the worst possible reasons a person could go viral.
Killing somebody? I don't know. Committing apartheid or genocide. Slavery. I mean, there's lots of sexual assault, Matt. Any kind of maybe a school shooter, maybe a turf Nazi shot up a school. Is this the person? No, it's not. It's not. In fact, it's an adult that just consented to do things with other adults.
She is, I guess, an OnlyFans, what they would call an OnlyFans model, but really an OnlyFans prostitute. Uh-huh. And she decided to have sex with 100 men in one night. Mm-hmm. 100 men in one night. And it was filmed, of course, and I guess made available on her OnlyFans page.
So the first 30 seconds of this are just an ad for Lily Phillips' OnlyFans page? Okay, cool. She does Pornhub and shit, right? I don't know. I mean, she clearly does like porn and stuff. So, I mean, I guess you only have to watch the first 30 seconds of this. This has 448,000 views. That's free fucking advertising.
Now, there are a bunch of videos now circulating of Lily Phillips after the fact, talking about the experience of, having sex with 100 men.
He's so embarrassed,
And in the videos,
he's like, "Oh man, I wish I had the confidence to have sex with 100 men."
And I don't have any of them to play right now, but you can find them on, on X and all that.
He almost said Twitter. In
the videos, she looks like someone who just had sex with 100 men. Okay, she looks terrible. She looks gross and sad and depressed.
Gross and sad and depressed. Like maybe a little tuckered out.
I was gay or something.
And in pain, and used up, just exactly how you would imagine somebody might look after an experience like that.
Used up.
And she's talking about it, and she's saying that it was a pretty horrible experience. What do you know? It wasn't very enjoyable. And yet, by the way, she's planning to do it again. Okay. In fact, her next goal is to have sex with 1,000 guys in a day.
Sheesh. That's a lot. Yeah, I mean, she didn't say horrible. Why is he putting words in her mouth? Well, he's not playing the clips because that would make him look bad. She said essentially it was hard. It was difficult. I don't know why they're all upset. Here we go. I think this is the clip that's going around.
When was the last time you ate?
I think I had a yum yum, and I think I had a sandwich, and that was and then the rest. It's not for the weak, girls, if I'm honest. It was hard.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd recommend it.
Why not?
I think if you're a different type of girl, it's very it's kind of like being a prostitute in a sense of it's just a different.
Why? And so they think that she's sad or something because her eyes were probably watering during the experience. She looks exhausted and tired. And I mean, I don't know what they got up to, but things can happen. As if I haven't looked like this way after one day. Hey, look. Thank you for the. Thank you for saying I have the dick strength of 100 men implicitly. I appreciate that.
Feeling. I don't know how to explain it.
It's not just having sex with someone.
Yeah. Just one in, one out. It feels intense.
More intense than you thought it might.
Definitely.
I guess maybe the piano and then so their little lizard brains, Matt Walsh's little brain is cued by the piano music. I don't even understand. She said she had cum in her eyes too, which makes mine ear. Yeah, I mean, come on. That's a 5-minute timer per. That's a long time though. That's a long time to fuck.
Which, just physically, in terms of the time constraints, I don't even know how that is. That would seem to defy the laws of physics. But
what do you mean the laws of physics, man?
That's her plan. So she's not stopping. She's going to continue doing it.
She totally can too. Yeah, it's totally fine. If she doesn't want to, Oh, 1,000. I mean, even so, I mean, it's definitely seems like a lot, but I mean, she can do that. He's big jealous. I mean,
and there's been a lot of discussion about this, and much of the discussion has been really on both sides of the political divide. Much of the discussion has been extremely sympathetic to Lily Phillips.
yeah.
As if she's the victim
Victim? What do you mean the victim?
of this thing that she did and plans to do again.
What? Victim? She's getting like so much publicity for this. I'm sure she made fucking bank, dude.
Not only that, but much of the commentary on social media and in the media blames the men who participated in this more than Lily Phillips herself. They're the villains here, is what we're being told. So, for example, just one example of many. Here's The Spectator. Here's an article that they just published. Headline. Shame on the men exploiting Lily Phillips. Not shame on Lily Phillips, shame on the men.
Yeah, I don't think does this mean the men? He's talking about Radfem Twitter? Okay.
So there's been a lot of that. And this is the way it goes now.
This is the way it goes now? Huh? Are you running stories about supporting the woman coming out in France talking about her husband of decades drugging her and like selling her unconscious body to be raped by like the townspeople and stuff? Like, are you defending her and talking about how she is a courageous person and deserves like support and stuff, or no? Like, so if you don't have a problem with that, and you should, I don't understand how this is the problem with consent involved, but that is something we're not talking about. Because it runs against your fucking narrative, right? It's not profitable. It doesn't have a political goal for you to be like, yeah, rape is bad, and we should stop men from doing it. Behold, I have found bad takes on Twitter. Allow me to present it as rage bait to keep your shitty elderly uncle's heart angry enough to keep beating for a few more hours. Matt, you're literally clickbaiting about her despite being too prudish to say the word cum out loud. Yeah.
Feminists demand that we celebrate a woman's sexual freedom, but then when a woman makes a really bad choice with her sexual freedom, suddenly she's a damsel in distress and it's everyone's fault but her own. That's the game. You know, it's always been the game with feminists. They want freedom without accountability.
Dude, this is just Dave stuff. He says the same thing. Freedom without accountability. What do you mean without accountability? What is accountability here? I don't understand. She's obviously taken account for it. She is herself, and she's like, yeah, I did this. I don't understand.
That has always been the problem. Again, one problem of many, but...
What do you mean by accountability? I think you mean... It doesn't sound like you want accountability at all. It sounds like you want repercussions or, like, you know, something bad to happen because of consequences.
There's always been one of the central problems with feminism from the beginning.
What's that?
Is you want all the freedom, all the choice, you want all that.
Uh-huh. Do you not want freedom, Matt?
Empowered, everything. The accountability part is the part where it always breaks down.
It doesn't. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. What accountability? You can go... What are you talking about? If this is one guy having sex with 100 women, which I'm sure is probably a thing, dude, that's got to be a video. Like, you wouldn't care?
You will not accept accountability, and it doesn't work that way.
What is accountability, Matthew?
You cannot have one without the other.
Describe it. Describe accountability.
Okay, responsibility is a dimension of freedom. You can't sever them.
You're just saying the same thing over and over again, but not giving a description of what that means.
It's like saying, it's like if you have a quarter in your pocket.
Is it like?
And you say that it's your quarter, you own it, but you own just the head side, not the tails.
None of this is like that.
Oh, the tail side of the quarter is not yours, just the head.
Yeah, this is a bad
You can't
simile.
have it.
This isn't a good metaphor.
You cannot have one side of the coin but not the other. You just can't. So it's nonsense.
That's the fucking dog shit metaphor. Absolutely terrible.
Now, I've heard that, Lily is harming herself. This is a self-destructive thing that she's doing. It's self-harm.
I disagree.
And it's no different from if she was, cutting herself.
I throw out my cooking regularly.
I had no idea the Waste Management Corporation had such dog shit takes. It really does look like Waste Management logo. It's hilarious. Perhaps, Matt, you shouldn't talk about accountability when you deny that your rhetoric inspires mass shooters when you try to blame SSRIs and people having melanin in their skin. True.
Herself in some way. It's like that. And so she's a victim. Well, now you're right. It is harmful. It is self-destructive. It is in many ways sort of
Maced management. I guess, yeah.
Self-mutilating. Yes, but the men are also harming themselves. Having sex with a woman when you are, number 62 in line out of 100 or whatever, that's a lot of things. That is disgusting. That is revolting. That is nauseating.
That's the same thing over and over. You don't have other opinions. You're just like, it makes me feel icky. But why?
Awful. That is demeaning. That is emasculating. That is all the bad things. It's also harmful. Harmful to the men. They are putting themselves at severe risk. Severe.
For what?
For
what?
For physical reasons.
Like what?
Big one being the diseases that you are.
They're all screened. It's a fucking. What are you talking about? It's like literally they're all tested. They're sex work.
Subjecting yourself to, almost certainly. Also harming yourself mentally and emotionally. So if she is a victim, why aren't they? In fact, if she's being exploited, why aren't they being exploited? She's the one profiting. She's the one selling the video. These men are just marks. They're pawns.
They're marks. Fucking. Do you think that the exploitation of a sex worker is bad, Matt? So now we're getting into the labor rights of the sex worker when you're one of the men in the One Lady 100 Men porn video. So that's interesting. Does that have any other implications anywhere down the line of your politics, Matt? Or is this just... He's like talking himself into labor rights for some reason?
Rubes, you could say, oh, well, no healthy woman with a right mind would do something like this. So she's a victim. No healthy man in his right mind would be a part of this.
Would have sex with someone?
I mean, if to volunteer to be a part of this is on either side.
Is he virtue signaling so that because he's worried about his wife seeing or whatever?
So there's something really wrong with you. And yet, it only goes one way. The accountability only goes one way. It only ever goes one way. It's like when a man...
It doesn't only go one way. Unless you mean the misogyny, in which case I agree. That goes one way. You guys are constantly misogynistic and it never ends. That's definitely true.
Has sex with a drunk woman and is accused of rape. Drunk sex is non-consensual sex, they say.
That's not how... No. If the woman is drunk and she doesn't know what she's doing and you're not drunk and you'd have sex with her, that's probably rape, yeah. It's unlikely that that's not rape. If you're both drunk and you fool around, you wake up, you're like, oh, what did we do last night? Did we have sex? I mean, that happens. I don't think anyone's going to prison for rape for that, man. That's not happening. There's this myth of false rape accusations when it's really just the reverse is true. People do not report their sexual assaults because of this kind of shit. You mean how men could sleep around and it's fine, but if a woman does it, she's a whore? Right.
Except that
a rapist is president. Literally true, yeah.
He was also drunk.
2 of them.
So if he raped her, then didn't she rape him?
3 of the last 4 have been.
Aren't they raping each other by that logic if they're both drunk?
No, what?
They're both inebriated? Didn't she take advantage of him also?
He's just so stupid. Oh, Matt Walsh is the dumbest motherfucker.
But you never hear that, ever. You never, ever hear that. You
can rape each other and it cancels itself out PEMDAS style. Holy shit.
Hear of a woman getting accused of, much less charged with rape, for having sex with a drunk man. Never hear it. It only goes one way. Accountability only goes one way, ever.
I disagree. I have no idea what this accountability shit is that you're even pondering on. Give me an example.
On this sort of thing. Now, the only way, this is the important point, okay? Because we can lament the double standards. I mean, the double standards are very obvious here. You can't.
Like what?
It's like
they're not obvious. He literally can't point it out.
Smacked in the face with a 2x4. The account. That's
Yeah.
how obvious it is. You can't miss it.
Okay, so please, fair a chance at describing it. Could you possibly describe what you're seeing that you think is unfair? Because you have not described it whatsoever.
But let me try to make sense of it.
Okay.
The only way to make sense of this double standard.
Is that the next? So it on the bullet point on your laptop or the cue card or whatever, the teleprompter, it said, "Let's make sense of this. The only way to make sense of this." And then you vamped, "Let me make sense of this." And then you read it again and said, "The only way to make sense of this is." I hate that he does that. Like I don't know if you guys notice it, but I notice it every time.
Where two people, man and woman, can willfully engage in a certain act, an act that in this case with Lily Phillips, not only are she willfully engaged, she is initiating it, inviting the men, advertising it, selling it, making money
You're advertising it.
on it.
You're trying to make money on it right now. This is you doing that.
Hope you guys have a fantastic day.
You put this video out to profit on her doing that. Dr. Gale will give one to Luigi time.
The only way to look at that and say, oh, the man is exploiting her, not the other way around, the only way to do it is to say that the man is the leader, that the man is in charge, that the man is basically the captain of the ship. And so he gets the blame when the ship goes down, even if a dozen other people are also to blame. Even if, in fact, the captain didn't screw up, even if the captain did everything right.
The captain? It's because he's not writing this or even involved in...
Still, he gets the blame. And in the old days, he goes down with the ship, even if it wasn't his fault, right?
That's accountability. That's what
Right?
accountability
The Titanic hits the iceberg. The captain was asleep. He had somebody else in charge of that. It's not his fault. He's got to go down with the ship.
is. He doesn't. That's stupid, by the way. That's a dumb thing. That's not noble.
That's the burden of leadership. You know,
The burden of leadership. Was this a fucking sea captain situation? Was she the sea captain? She's like, whoa, mateys, line up orderly and stick to your allotted time. You're not bright enough to even understand why you're a misogynist about this. The long and short of it is simply that you're made uncomfortable by the idea of someone having sex with multiple partners at one time. And because you're made uncomfortable by it, you think that there must surely be some kind of like moral issue here for you to describe, but that you can't find one. They all consented. At worst, some of the men involved were pieces of shit during the process and didn't get properly screened or violated some aspect of the agreement, and they were dealt with. And that's like that's a man problem. That's a common man problem, you know? At least they were on film being exposed doing it, I suppose. Hopefully they have to be accountable, you know what I'm saying? Matt's genuinely not saying anything. There's no reason to continue this. He hasn't made a point the whole time. He genuinely can't even describe what the accountability is that he's trying to say that she ought to have. And it really sounds like he wishes that there was some kind of consequence for having 100 dicks in you.